guys, I was going to do a lesson on how to do figure drawing, and I thought it was going really well, and the more I started doing slides, the more I realized, well, this wasn't actually how I learned how to draw. And the more I went into proportions and things, I was like, no, I don't feel like doing this. So today we're going to do something completely different and interactive. Well, I say completely different. We're still going to do some figure drawing, but you guys are going to get involved with it, and we're going to take it a step at a time, and we'll see how flow, proportions, dynamics makes up a composition, makes up a pose. I started drawing when I was really, really young, and I used to do much more cartoony style, but I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to do more realistic figure drawing stuff, mainly because it's the stuff I'm interested in now. I'm not nearly as interested as I was in manga and anime. Also because you can either make it really, really fast, or you can either make it really, really short. So, without rambling too much, let's get started. The first exercise I want you to do, get your pencil, hard or soft, whichever one works. I want you to draw a rectangle. Not as bad as I did, but I want you to draw it, and I want you to divide it up into 7. Label it 0 to 6. What we're making is a value scale. You want to leave 0 completely blank, and you want to shade in 6 as hard as you can. This is what we're mainly doing right now, is all just pencil control. We want to get the different shades, the different values out of your tool as you can. This is going to be super messy. So we've got 6 as dark as we possibly can. We said we were going to leave 0 blank, so we are. Okay, starting at 1, you want to go the lightest pressure you can. That certainly wasn't the lightest pressure I could go. The lightest pressure you can, and go across the entire thing. You want to keep doing that. You want to get darker with every successive panel. If you find it difficult to get a natural gradient, like it seems like I'm doing here, what you can do is you can carry your gradient across multiple panels and build up layer by layer. So right now I've got numbers 3, 4, and 5, roughly the same gradient. Now I go over the top of 4 and I darken it up, and I do this and I bring it over to 5, and I do the same again the next time.
Let's turn off for a sec, just to test.
Cool. Can everyone still see okay?
I can see.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to turn the brightness of this up. Okay, so it's a little bit dodgy, but that's basically what I'm trying to get at. This is the value scale. Oi, oi, you get stuff, you draw. I'm watching you.
You went for the first part.
Okay, so, has everyone done hopefully a better value scale than I did?
Questionable? Yes.
Okay, cool. Next of all, I want you to draw a circle, and I want you to define a light source, and just do this by 3 lines somewhere. You don't have to do it exactly the same place as I did, but it's a good start. Okay. Start drawing rough lines where the shadows are, and build them up as you go. And again, I'm making this very rough and very quick, simply because, well, we're working quick and I want to get on to the more important stuff. But I think, although I started drawing figures immediately, I kind of wish I learnt to do this first. And it's not necessarily because I wanted to learn the technical aspects, but it was more because I wanted to learn how to do this fast. I wanted to build up the speed so I'd have more time to work on variation rather than getting one thing perfect. Put in a drop shadow here. You don't have to do that if you don't want to.
not doing stuff is for weak.
I'm doing it very messy. I'm not going to win any awards. This is kind of like bastardized hatching. Okay, so we got that in. Ish. This ain't the best, by any stretch. But it'll do. You get the illusion that it's roughly three-dimensional. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, and this might be incredibly daunting for you. In fact, it's incredibly daunting for me, because we're going to start drawing figures, and we're only going to take 30 seconds on them. Now, there are some tips and tricks I can offer you. The first one is, obviously, don't think about drawing the subject, just think about the subject. If you can help it, just stare at the image, don't stare at what you're drawing. The second thing I can offer you is, try and abbreviate, try and get them as much of the movement in as little strokes. For example, this line could indicate there's the head, that's the spine, and that's the leg with the most gravity on it. Can you see that? If I do that, then you get a better image of it. Third thing I can recommend is try and get those anchor lines for where the shoulders are, where the hip is, where the foot is. And another abbreviation, this is oddly specific, but if you can find weird, non-consistent abbreviations of like where the spine is, what the form of the body is, use them. I had one where a fairly busty woman was holding a cloth in a loop pattern behind her, and she had it like this, and I basically did that. It was 30 seconds. It's certainly not perfect, but we don't want this to be perfect. It's a 30-second drawing. You can't really do much within 30 seconds. The aim is to get as much information out of the small lines that you've drawn as possible. So, I'm going to load up this page, and I'll give you the link to this afterwards. Let's see where I can... Okay. I'm going to zoom right in. I'm just going to start here.
Oh, should we go? No, you don't have so much joy yet.
Okay. Sorry, let me just set up the windows. Okay, the site I'm using is known as Pixelovely. It's a stock image generator, but it's timed. So you only have 30 seconds each to work on the piece, and you can change it to, you know, only male, only female, only fine art, only, you know, clothed or unclothed. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. No, I'm going to Pixelovely go on. Okay, so, do we want nude or clothed? Because nude will be better for internet, but clothed will be difficult because you won't be able to see the shapes and forms as easily.
I'm not sure if we can use...
Probably closed because
Closed.
internet.
Close just in case there's something on YouTube like that.
Closed, we're going to use both genders, and we're going to have it standard, and we're only going to have it at 30 seconds.
let's do this.
Okay, ready? We're going to do about 5 of these. Okay, go. This brush is too big. No. See what I mean by 30 seconds?
Oh, so you keep on doing them. Alright.
Yep. This guy suddenly has a butt on him.
That booty.
Okay, what?
Oh,
You know
oh,
what?
that nose.
Whatever.
Do this.
That nose.
Honestly, I prefer the spandex to regular clothes. I'm not sure what is going on with this pose.
Yoga.
Yeah, well,
Just
probably.
yoga.
Okay, number 4. I'm gonna zoom out a bit. I said I'm gonna zoom out a bit. There we go. No, too far!
What's wrong with her hands?
That's booty though.
I know, right?
That's like anaconda level.
My torso is as long as her legs. How do you draw?
Okay, one more.
Oh, the nose again.
That nose.
Okay, that is 5. Okay, so what
That's not my
difficulties did people have, or what did they find to be the easiest thing when doing these sketches?
Head is easy.
Head is easy?
Just circle.
Yeah, just a second. The more shorthand you use, the better it is. Anyone else?
Scaling.
Scaling.
Yes,
Well, so easy or difficult?
Difficult.
Okay, so it's sort of like proportions of the body. Specifically, like the first guy here with his head and bicep, like the bicep's like half the size of his torso in my example, which isn't entirely accurate, but because it's 30 seconds, and I wish I thought of this earlier, but because it's only 30 seconds, it's really difficult to get things perfect, and it's better to get the movement of the piece in such a short amount of time to make the motions more dynamic, rather than spending so much time focusing on how big the chest is in relation to the neck or whatever. Okay, so that's 30 seconds done. Now, we have a choice in what we can do. We can work on one figure drawing piece together for a long amount of time, or we could just do a free-for-all drawing session, and we can talk amongst ourselves about what others like and how I may shorthand a couple drawing techniques, but it's sort of up to you, because I scrapped my original plan last minute because I thought this was better as it gets people more involved. So it's a sort
Maybe
of
go through a worked example?
Worked example? Okay. Basically, I'm going to go through this. Tell me when to stop if you find an interesting pose.
Yep.
That one.
Whoa. No.
Yes.
That one?
No.
Back.
Back one.
Back.
Back one.
That's
That's
forward.
forward.
Up, back.
That one.
That one.
That one?
Oh, I was going one before. I was going one before.
Oh, you mean the jazz hands?
Yeah.
Jazz hands was fabulous.
This one or jazz hands?
I really like this one.
I really like this one too, because it's difficult.
Yay.
Okay. I think before I get into that though, I'm going to give you a bit of a rant about proportions, because I have a love-hate relationship with proportions. See, in many art books, not all, but certainly in many art books, you get this talk about how a man should be 8 heads high. The ideal figure is 8 heads or 7.5 heads. And then you get this arbitrary measurement of heads and being like, okay, head 2 is where the nipples should lie, head 3 is where the belly button is, head 4 is where the crotch should lie. So the crotch should be like slap bang in the middle of the body. And yeah, that's all well and good, but you're sort of just making copy-paste people from there on in. The more you distort and skew the proportions, the more character a person has, the more variety it has. And I don't know, you can see it in the female version here. So I've got the male body and I've got basically the female equivalent. I'm sorry if it's very sketchy. There are muscles and all that behind there, but I merged the layers so you can't see it. But you can already tell this is where head 3 is, and thanks to gravity and the fact that boobs are the way they are, the nipples fall lower And in this example, the crotch and the wrists aren't exactly in the same position. The wrists are lower than the crotch. And I think the head's a bit too big in relation to the rest of her body here, but that becomes more of a style thing rather than a this is how you art thing. I can't dictate to you what, the correct proportions are, because in my opinion there are really no correct proportions. It's just the proportions that fit the character or the model best. However, I still think it's important to learn the sort of 8-head rule, because you gotta know the rules in order to break them in the right way, because it's one thing to skew the proportions a little bit, it's another thing to look like an arm's broken. I will mention though, although body proportions can be a little bit iffy in my opinion, face proportions remain more or less the same. You use the eye as a unit of measurement, and my eyes are a little bit iffy in this, I've just realised on second look, but we'll ignore that. So, let's just get it right. Okay, so, unit of measurement is the eye. We have, I said unit of measurement is the, alright, unit of measurement is the eye. You want an eye's distance between the two eyes. This space here, I generally assume to be half an eye's width, but that's debatable. This is just my shorthand. And then it's usually an eye and a half is the length of the nose. Then it's half an eye between the edge of the nose and the actual opening of the mouth. So in between that bit will be the philtrum and the upper lip. The upper lip and the lower lip are entirely debatable as to thickness. It varies wildly between people. The thing that I've failed to do, I think maybe slightly in this, is that there's usually half an eye from the edge of the eye to the edge of the head, which I've not done. I've got about a third, but it's okay. Now I've divided the head for positioning of the features into thirds. So there's the first third, and first, second, third. First obviously left blank. The second and the last third is really where all the action happens. The second third line is usually where I put my eyebrows. That's the eyebrows that they're most arched. Some people like to put them lower, some people like to put them upper. It's more style than anything. But if you're going to go realistic, I'd probably put them lower, because she just looks constantly surprised in my opinion.
So she suits you.
Yeah. The second, third line here, this one, is where I put the edge of the nose, and then you can usually go about halfway here, and there's the mouth. The eyes will always rest in the center of the face. Yeah,
Seriously,
see?
mad but true.
Mad but true. And the great thing about this one is that you can change the proportions of the eyes and of anything, and it will remain constant. The face shape will change to accommodate. You don't necessarily have to draw, here's the face, and then smush everything in, but you could just draw the eyes and work around that, and you can generally get a fairly good consistent face that doesn't look like it's either been punched in or come straight out of the uncanny valley. Where else can I go from here? Face proportions, I think we got down right. I think we're ready to begin. Oh, okay. Another thing I want to gripe about. This is heavily dependent on art books. A lot of people say when you draw your sketch figures in circles or more feminine shapes, they'll become softer. They're usually used to depict female characters, but men are usually drawn in box shapes because they're angular and more masculine. And that's completely a style thing. I don't know why they're teaching people to draw in squares and boxes, because it's completely a style thing. But what I found works best for me, and yes, I know I'm being a little bit hypocritical here, is that humans are just sausages and triangles. Because you can change the rotation of a triangle and you can get completely different looks from it. Like for example, this is a female here, and I've got the triangles to be majoritively, bottom heavy, so this is where the boobs are, and then that's where the hips are, and then you could do an inverse triangle for that's where the crotch is, but you could also do it the same thing. So, you know, here's a man, here's a man's chest, right? So it's sort of that superhero manly chest, top heavy sort of thing. So you don't have these, you know, feminine shapes are round, masculine shapes are square. They're just all triangles now, and you can easily change it to have, you know, more masculine female characters or more feminine male characters. But I think the more accurate one is we're just sausages. We're all just sausages, and I think sausages is probably the better way to look at it.
This is the best equality speech ever.
We are
all
sausages.
sausages. Alright, so I'm going to... Should I open up a new document? No, I'll save time and do it here. Okay, so I'm going to figure out what layer this freaking X is on. And then we're going to get started. I'm going to go not overboard, but I want to go a little bit into musculature, simply because I think it's a little bit important, but I won't deviate too long. I'll try and keep it brief. Okay, so... Cool. So, okay. Immediately, I'm just going to take the same approach, and please draw along with me. This is not a look and watch as I go. This is and you don't necessarily have to follow along with exactly what I'm doing. This is just, you know, do it your own way, because the way I learnt was not by copying everyone verbatim. I'd look at what other people were doing. I'd follow along with some tutorials, sure, but when it came down to it, I was more interested in how I could make theirs
Your own.
my own, basically, or take a fundamental skill they did and learn how to apply it for my own characters, if that makes sense. So right now, this is basically what I think the character is doing. That's what I do in 30 seconds, and I think it works okay. Okay. Okay, so next I'm going to elaborate on this. So we've got the shoulders here, we've got this one protruding out, then I want to hash out the rib cage, and I'd usually do this kind of, I'm not even sure what that is, but and I've also put it on backwards apparently, but I'd do this kind of bean, I guess you could call it. The bean. So there's the bean for the rib cage. And I've done it backwards again, because yes.
I think I made his torso too long.
Don't worry, it's only the beginning, and you're doing it in pencil. You don't even have to erase, just draw on top of it. Okay, so, rib cage-ish. Hip, we want two joints there. We want okay, so there's that, then we want to have I think art is fun, guys. Okay, that's kind of close enough. It's certainly not the best anatomically I can do. Like, the arms are way short, so I'm not even gonna erase actually. I'm just gonna quickly elbows more up there. And then we want the second one to be there. That looks a little better. Okay, now I'm going to do it on a new layer, just so you can sort of see the progress. Let's go to a new colour. Someone give me a colour.
Pink.
Pink, okay.
That was quick.
I was waiting for
It
that.
took me a solid 3 seconds to think of a colour.
Good job. Alright. I'm going to make it a purpley pink just so I can differentiate it from the red. Okay, so muscles. Arm muscles and leg muscles I might leave till last. I want to get the torso in first. Alright, so I can't remember the official names, please forgive me, but you've got deltoids.
Deltoids are a thing.
Yep, those are deltoids. So you've got deltoids here. You can't really see much of the pecs, but they'd be here. And what I usually do, particularly if this guy was standing straight on, is that I'd sort of do a sort of bat wing. I'd just draw them as one thing, depending on the image. I'd draw them just as one thing because they're so closely connected. I might as well. Okay, so there. Okay, I'm gonna put in where the I can't remember the name of them now. The back wing bone thingies.
Shoulder blades?
Shoulder blades! Thank you! Okay, I'm gonna refine that rib cage a bit because that rib cage is looking janky. Technical time. I'm gonna say that's where the ribs end. Then there's usually a fist between the rib cage and the hips, so that indicates that my torso is way too long. So I'm going to quickly put in a butt here. Hooray, butt. I'm also quickly going to just turn down the opacity of this layer just so I can see what the hell I'm doing. So it now has a butt, or rather he now has a butt. We can see some of the, I'm not sure if those are the serratus muscles or if those are ribs. I think they're ribs. I'm going to put in the biceps and the triceps. And I will not normally be as detailed if I was working quickly. So I'd usually, I'd do the front muscles and then I'd probably just do a sausage. And in fact for this one, I think I'll just do a sausage or two. I'll luck out and give them two. Okay, so we've got a rib cage, we've got a butt. We need to make that better. There we go. Okay, we want to put in a joint. We want to give him another sausage. I want to give this man many sausages.
Oh my, Libby.
I will fit in as many euphemisms as I can. Watch me.
We should have the user. We should make that unit of measurement of x-axis.
Sausages.
No, number of euphemisms.
Yep.
Well, what if I use my measurement of a delta image?
No.
I'll kind of last use as well.
Okay, so there's that. We want to put in a neck around here. That neck goes like that, and then his head kind of.
No one is, don't worry about it.
Pardon?
No one is, don't worry about it.
You don't have to show people at the end if you don't
Oh
want
no,
to.
this
I
is
will-
just proportions.
Yeah. As you can
That's
see,
right.
I constantly edit the proportions as I go. Like, I just realized one leg is like half a foot longer than the other, so I'm going to fix that. Yeah. Okay, we want to get in a hand. And this hand I might actually be able to... Hands aren't my strong point. You will figure this out the more I go through. Hands
Butts are easy, hands are not.
Pardon?
Butts are easy, hands are not.
Butts are easy, hands aren't. I have much more experience in drawing butts than I do hands.
Well then.
Well,
Oh, not.
come on. Okay, so I'd say that is something I'm happy with. I might just thicken up that arm though. Legs look good. That looks good. The hands, I don't even know what's going on anymore. Okay, so now I'm gonna do basic lineup, I guess, because I'm at a place where I'm sort of happy to. What the? where I'm happy to keep going. So I'm gonna, okay, so that's layer 6. So layer 7 is what I'm doing. Cool. Give me a colour.
Purple.
Can we have one I can easily differentiate?
Blue.
Blue.
Yellow.
I'll do an aqua.
Black. White.
I'm gonna do a dark one though, just so I can easily differentiate lines. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna go up closer. I'm just gonna start doing the thing. Okay, so I'm deliberately putting the skin. I'm deliberately sort of doing the outline a little bit out from my skeleton, simply because I've done the bones and I've done the muscle. This is basically the skin layer. I don't think he has much of a chin, but he does have a soul pat. Go away. What the hell? What happened to what?
His neck.
Yeah, it's
I love his afro.
His afro is great.
The problem is it's more pyramid shaped than round, so you fix that.
Hello, soul patch. You can-
Why, hello.
Hello, I am soul patch. Don't mind me. Okay, we want to put in the tendon, which you can't really see in the photo. That might just be because it's so small. But
I think that's because hair.
yeah, also his hair. In fact, you can't even see his eyes, but his eyes would be about here. A bit bigger. Okay, I'm just going to hash out where his throat is going to be.
That Frodo.
That Frodo! The
It's
one
the Frodo.
etc. There we go. We want to have that down pretty much over his eyes.
Why does this remind me of John?
Of who?
John, CSA fella.
Okay.
I gave
Yeah.
him too much booty.
If there's one thing that I can prove to you in doing this, the one thing I want to prove to you is that I'm not actually good at drawing people. What I am good at is drawing lines, shapes, and chicken scratch.
That chicken scratch. So helpful.
Yeah, it kind of is. That's what helps me out.
That was unsarcastic.
Hmm?
That wasn't sarcastic.
Okay, so and then what I've also learned is that arms really aren't that symmetrical. The more symmetrical I draw an arm, the more it looks like an eggplant. And I used to have a really bad case. I didn't want to bring in my old art portfolio. It contained work from like high school onwards, simply because it was too big and bulky to carry around. But one day I might take photos of it or scan them in or something. And I had a serious case of like tiny hands and eggplant arms. And I still have the tiny hands, less so the eggplant arms, but you know, I'm working on it.
Best supervillain, Dr. Eggplant.
With his assistant, tiny hands.
Can someone, if someone's decidedly already finished, can someone draw that?
Dr.
I want
Eggplant.
and
Sure.
tiny arms. That would be amazing.
Tiny
I
hands.
cannot remember how to draw an eggplant, so no.
He needs a monocle.
Yes.
If people are done with that figure drawing, I can just work off my sketch and give you another one. Just feel free to let me know.
I'm drawing Dr. Eggplant.
Okay.
What does an eggplant look like again? I can't remember.
What do you mean?
It's
What
got
does
long
an
tomato.
eggplant look like?
I don't eat vegetables. I'm a... Oh, that. Alright.
I don't eat vegetables.
I eat pizza.
According to the US, pizza is a vegetable though.
Yes.
What? Yes.
Yeah.
That's so they can feed students lunches of like.
Pizza. I should move to the US. And none of you guys will miss me.
I would miss you.
We would miss you.
We would miss
yeah,
you
who's
because
gonna
you
prove
probably.
XSACs?
That too.
There's some real shit going down.
That might be against them.
you've got to make them draw, guys. If they're like sitting quietly up the back, shove a piece of paper in their face and tell them to
Draw
draw.
eggplant man.
Well, that'll do. Hi.
Hi, how's the drawing?
Good. That arm looks a little wonky, but I'll keep it for now. Hi.
If you enter, you have to draw. I'm hacking. Yeah, draw me.
No
One hack
excuse.
and draw?
Yes.
I think that's a fun. Let's
That's
just
a
call that a fun.
How are you progressing? It's pretty good.
Did anyone have any questions for me about,
That.
you know, art, what I do, what I find to be helpful, what I use? I don't know.
How long does it normally take, say, if you're trying to draw something to a quite realistic degree?
To a quite realistic degree. With breaks, 5 hours. I can't do it in one hit because I find that in order for me to make it realistic, I have to look away from it and look back at it with fresh eyes, else I don't realize my mistakes. So I'd say 5 hours with breaks. However, I wouldn't call my art style realistic. Grab paper.
Yeah, I did.
You must join us.
No escape. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't call my art style realistic by any sense. It's certainly more realistic than I used to do, but I wouldn't call it realistic.
Done.
Eggplant. Yeah, close.
That is a thing of beauty, please frame that.
Dr. Eggplant.
I like hammers.
Tiny hands.
Oh, I haven't drawn tiny hands.
Those hands are the width of the leg.
I'm looking at this good paper. Yes, you are. That's why we have good paper. Yeah. I'm going to do this really quickly so I can
There's
go finish what I
also a
did.
ream of large cartridge paper here.
No. Oh, if you come in, you have to draw things.
Oh, okay, I'm moving out. I don't draw for a reason.
Neither do I. Look at me. Oh god, this reminds me of VeggieTales.
Details.
You're taking me back to year 12 art class.
What, VeggieTales U12 art class?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Okay, this is my attempt. Now I need to go back to what I was doing.
Cool.
Dude, I have VeggieTales as a religion. Show it to the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Can the camera get it? I can't see anything.
It's kind of getting there. His other foot is right there, if you
Yeah.
can see it.
It's weirdly.
It's hiding by the other one.
It's sort of dangling a little.
Yeah.
Guys, stop making fun of the amputee.
He's a very talented amputee.
That
Not really, that's
well,
upper
he
body
needs
strength.
the upper. No, I'm not. I'm not falling on it.
You guys secretly love me.
I might kill you one day, Pat.
That's his form of love, though, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I have drawn Eggplant Man and his sidekick, Tiny Arms Woman.
Okay. Has anyone found
just
any hang-ups with their figure drawings so far? Anything I can help you with? Because I might
Frizzy hair.
undo this. This is my version of drawing frizzy hair. It's literally chicken scratch. And it seems to work okay. Not the best, but it seems to work okay.
I don't know. I think it's a human. No, it's too terrible.
Too small.
It looks more like a shark human. Wait, so
Yeah, my group cages look like gills as well.
is that thing?
That's actually fabulous.
To be more.
He's now super
okay.
amputee.
Now I get it. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. As oh god, I can just oh god. Keep adding to this monstrosity.
His crotch
Not
is
bad.
too pointy.
No, that's
I
actually
do-
what it looks like. I think his crotch is not
kind of
pointy
is
enough.
pointy.
It needs to be.
The photo
Gonna be
actually
like this.
Yes, you must leave it like that forever.
Or
pyramid
not.
style.
Oh shit! I can't undo this. Why can't I undo this?
Because the universe listens to our wishes.
Ha!
God damn it.
Super amputee fishman done.
With a teepee.
Oh.
Okay, I need to put emphasis on where the zip is. I need to put where the pocket is. Change pocket. Okay. I'd say that's okay. Did you want me to go any further into this, or did you want me to just start drawing random things that you request, any help you need, or what have you? Or
Anything
do-
you can think of?
Pardon?
I like the anything you can think of idea.
Cool. Okay. I'm gonna start drawing things that used to baffle me when I was younger, but now I get a hang of it simply because I sort of made this sort of artistic shorthand, if you can call it that. Okay, so let's start with noses. Pardon?
You can draw the perfect circle.
No one can do that.
Use the circle tool in Photoshop.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's as about perfect as I can get it, but it's not brilliant.
I was taught the way to draw a perfect circle is using like one motion.
Yeah, you do one motion, but
And then you add
you
to
need
it.
like, for me to draw a perfect circle, I need a large radius. And
Oh yeah,
this
you
is
just have your
tiny.
shoulders same place. Whoop.
Yeah, but this is this. So that's about as perfect as I can get for a circle.
When you're starting, I guess,
Yeah.
nothing, how do
draw
you
the perfect circle.
do you follow a similar approach? Do you kind of
As
based on what
simple
you've
as you
drawn
can get
before?
for
Is like
like
because
it's
here we're kind of copying something.
Yeah,
almost,
here we're kind of copying something, and I'd say if I was doing a pose, I'd start with the same thing. I'd start with the rough skeleton. I'd try and work muscles around that. Either that, or I'd try something completely different and just work from the top down. So I'd start with the hair and the outline of the face, work the features in, and then try and do the proportions based on the face alone. That's how I used to do it. But then I'd get
Hells yeah.
how I used to do it was do it from the top down. And I kid you not, this is how I used to draw my faces.
Oh.
That's how I draw my faces.
Quite as you.
And then the nose is kind of like that, and the mouth was kind of like that, and then the hair would just go like this and cling to the face.
Because emo hair.
Well, it wasn't even emo hair. I never intended it to be emo
Well, yeah,
hair.
of
It just
course.
happened like that.
Okay, how do you draw hair?
How did he
How
come
do I
into
draw hair?
existence?
Okay.
Tony Abbott.
Without the
How do
random-
I draw hair? Answer Tony Abbott.
I was answering a question. It's like, how did
I just know it wouldn't
Fishman
be too
come to
difficult to
be?
do.
And I was like, he saw Tony
I
Abbott.
okay.
And then he had to
How
use
I used to draw hair was I used to draw hair in shapes. And then I realized the more I drew in shapes, the more I only really understood like 2 or 3 hairstyles. So now I just go strand by strand.
Oh wow.
Hair up, hair down, what?
Frizzy, so like
My
because
hair.
it's
Okay.
Floofy.
Let's go your hair but floofier. Okay, so
I like that word.
it's a good word. It's
floofy
like
is a
numpty.
fantastic word.
Yes, numpty is also a good
Numpty
word.
is a great word.
So yeah, I'd still go like shape by shape, start with the fringe and have it go into the back of the head and then start on the other side of the face. That I keep. But I found if I don't work the strands in, all the life of the image is lost. I used to have it as just a sort of a single blank colour. Let's have the sun coming from there. So I'll darken this bit up a bit. Go under like so. Okay, we want because your head's getting fairly long. Probably not that way.
Primarily because I haven't had it cut for a while.
You haven't had a cut for a while.
Sort of.
Yeah. It looks like your hair is like permanently windswept. It's kind of great.
Yeah.
That is actually kind of great.
That's because I floof it the second I dry it. I start drying
You have an
it.
ear
Exactly.
after that. So here's your.
Oh,
ear.
stop it! No.
Sarah, you should dye your hair blue.
Yes. And you and Eliza can be friends.
But I was gonna dye it red and then confuse people because Libby's.
Ooh,
But, like,
tempting.
She's drawing blue.
Doesn't mean I have to dye it blue.
It's
It's not a
looking good
requirement.
blue.
But I don't want to be blue.
That
Your
The dye green.
dabba-dee-dabba. No.
Ooh, also when you actually start trying to draw faces,
Yeah.
Somebody felt
try
like
and
it was
pick
popular.
people who aren't pretty. Because pretty people most of the time have an averaging of features, so they're a pain in the ass to draw. Find someone with character.
Yeah. It seriously is. You can go into like the perfect golden ratio face, but I find it's less interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to get personality
Yeah.
with those kind of faces as well. Like it just ends up looking like a generic pretty person.
I'm gonna do as little detail to the face as I can, simply because whoa, I've just realised that nose looks janky.
Janky is also
But
one
funny.
I'm just gonna do this. Eye, nose,
Hear those angry birds. Very
mouth.
disgusting.
Because yes, but this is basically how I draw the
I
hair.
don't.
And basically
Well,
just
no,
chicken
I
scratch my
presume.
way to victory, and then somehow it works.
Victory!
Your jaw is a little rounded than that. And now I've made the jaw too niche. The face too round. Life is hard, life is suffering.
I made a pretties.
What pivot said patient.
Nice.
Cool.
There we
What is
go.
it? If I shade it in, you'll see that it's actually a thing of a rose. Cool.
Okay, so that's how I do hair. We can go into more detail on how I draw facial features. I'm gonna use them.
Oh, yeah.
use
Word,
them.
it's that poofy now.
Who is he?
No, it's not. They just requested draw hair like yours but more poofy, so I did.
But who is
I've learnt
Is he a
shortcuts
student?
like if I were to draw an
Is he
ear
a
on its
sensei?
side, it's basically a question mark ish kind of thing, and then a weird mitten. But in reality, I wouldn't draw it so simplified. I'd probably go. Here's the outline. And then there's that.